Today's episode of the Ramp It Up podcast contains explicit language and may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener's discretion is advised. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Ramp It Up podcast with your host, Ronell Sinuis.
Are you ready to ramp it up?
Ramp it up, ew!
Hey, yo, ramp it up, B.
Girl, ramp it up! Ramp it up!
The Ramp It Up podcast.
Hey, you need to ramp it up.
Ramp it up.
Welcome back for another episode of the Ramp It Up podcast. I'm your host and your favorite Zoe on Wheels, Ronell. We are in the month of February, the second month already of the year 2022, and I'm happy to be spending it with you guys. Hopefully, your New Year's resolutions are going great so far. I'm doing okay in mine. Messed up a bit on one, but like I said in our last episode, it's all about getting back on the horse afterwards. The month of February, we're celebrating Black History Month, so we have to acknowledge and honor and celebrate the contributions of people of African descent here in these United States and around the world in general. I am of Haitian descent, so we too have contributed many things to our American culture here. So shout out to everyone who not only celebrate and acknowledge the heroes and heroines we have here in this country, but those who are, I guess, less known, not just the Dr. Martin Luther Kings and Malcolm X's and Rosa Parks, but some of the less mainstream, I guess you can say. We have many in, again, Haitian history, Henri Christophe and Jean-Jacques Dessalines, and the Haitian Revolution did definitely impact us here in the United States. So there's a lot that we don't know. So take time to look into your history, and I guess if you wanna bring it a little bit closer to home here for the Ramp It Up podcast, there are many people of color who have lived their lives and contributed great things, regardless of being in a wheelchair or dealing with any sort of disability. So do a little bit of research. I'll be sharing some throughout the month on our Instagram page. If you aren't following, you already should have been, but ramp.it.up.podcast is our Instagram page. And also, you can find us on Facebook. Just search the Ramp It Up podcast. Of course, you can email us. I'd love to hear your feedback, your questions, and topic ideas. Just go email us at rampituppodcast@gmail.com. Again, Black History Month. We are acknowledging and celebrating people of color and their contributions to specifically the United States, but the world in general. Also, Valentine's Day right around the corner. If you ain't got yourself a boo, a little Valentine's, a little bae, a little something to squeeze up on, it's not too late. It's not too late. There's always someone out there for you, whoever you may be, whatever you're looking for, whatever your circumstance. There's someone out there looking to give you some loving. But for those of us who have had spinal cord injuries or live life day to day in a wheelchair, sometimes people assume that we aren't looking for relationships or sexually active or interested in romance. And let me go ahead and tell y'all that ain't true. That is not correct. And for those of you guys who may be in the situation like myself, who've been injured a few years and trying to get back out there, sometimes it gets a bit depressing. Sometimes it gets a bit stressful. These streets haven't been the same in quite a few years when it comes to dating. So what I'm going to do today is share some dating advice, give some tips for those of us who are post-injury or are dealing with disabilities or just in general. I think some of these tips will help anyone in general in their dating lives. And on top of that, I'm going to give 10 wheelchair-friendly dating ideas because they're not as easy as they used to be. For those of us who may have gotten injured or developed a disability later on in life, dating has changed, having to think about and plan around the wheelchair and transportation and things of that nature. So I'm going to first give some advice for those of us out there trying to find the person of our dreams, our loved one, our Valentine, and also some dating ideas. But before we jump into them, I actually want to share some good news coming up on February the 10th at 5 p.m. It will be my honor to be hosting the United Spinal Tech Access Group's Tech Talk. It is a new initiative that we'll be putting together on a monthly basis throughout the year, where on the second Thursday at about 5 p.m., we're going to talk about technology, accessibility tools, and how technology impacts our lives post injury, post disability, or just in general. We're going to talk about some of our favorite bits of technology, our favorite accessible tools, and we're talking about low tech, high tech, whatever you use in your life that helps. I'm going to be sharing some of those that work for me. I want to hear what you guys are talking about, and we're going to have some special guests to share some of their expertise, some new products that may be useful for us in our daily lives. Remember, it is on February 10th at 5 p.m. It is over Zoom. So I'll be sharing the link in our episode notes. You can join. We are always encouraging folks to join United Spinal. It is a great organization. I joined back in 2020, and it's an amazing resource to find out what's going on in your personal injury, to connect with others who may give you insight, and just as a great social tool as well. So again, the Tech Talks, first one, February 10th, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, for those of you guys who are not on the East Side like myself, 5 p.m. Eastern. It is about an hour, so from 5 to 6. Hopefully you guys can join. I'm not too sure if it'll be recorded, but if it is, I'll let you know next episode where you can catch up to it if you didn't get your chance to watch it. Also, got to take a quick second to throw a shout out to our sponsor, the episode sponsor, JWoods Company. Shout out to JWoods Company for 2 years of sponsoring our podcast. I actually have a giveaway coming up that will be sponsored by them as well. But for now, remember, JWoods Company caters to your special event needs. Contact JWoods for your weddings, your birthday parties, even especially around the Valentine's time, a little sexy dinner for 2 or 4 or however many of you guys want to celebrate together. JWoods, you can go to their website, that's JWoods Company.com, or hit them up on Instagram, JWoods Company. See some of the pictures and contact them for any information, any special menus that you want to put together. Remember, JWoods Company caters to your special event needs. So again, for today's episode, we're talking about going on dates, relationships, love, and specifically I could use my perspective from being in a wheelchair. It hasn't been the easiest. First and foremost, coping with having to deal with the injury and the wheelchair itself. I'm 5 years in. I know others have been in the game much longer than I and have found their loved one, found their partner. Some have decided, hey, it's not for them. They don't want to go the romance route. But for those of you guys who are interested in it, I want to share a few pieces of advice that have been given to me and that I've kind of developed myself over the last few years to get yourself ready for dating. If you don't have a few of these in mind, it might be a bit too early for you to date. Most importantly, if you're not comfortable in your own skin, it might still be a little too early for you to date. But I have six pieces of advice I want to share, and then afterwards we're going to share some date night or date day activities that are wheelchair friendly. So my first piece of advice for those of you guys who are thinking of getting back into the dating game is to be yourself. As I just said, post injury, and I'll use me as an example, I've always been confident and very social and friendly. But post-injury and dealing with the wheelchair and just limited mobility and different changes in my body, you sometimes lose a bit of confidence. I'm going to be honest with you guys. And I was a big dancer and I love to have fun. So all those things were part of my charm when going out and dating. But after the injury, a lot of that is different. I can't use dancing as my pickup. Or, there's certain activities I was very physically active. So there's certain things that were no longer part of my repertoire for going out on dates. So being yourself is a big thing. I can acknowledge that these are some of the things I still love, and I may not be able to do them the same way that I did, but that doesn't mean you can't participate. I'm still friendly. I'm still charming. Still have a very sexy, deep voice. So you have to be yourself. Find your center. Find the things that make you who you are. Your activities don't make you who you are. It's your personality, the person you are. Be yourself. when you find the person you're interested in or you're going on a date. Don't let the pressure of the wheelchair or the place you're going to or any of people who may be looking at you weird mess up your confidence. Be yourself, find your center, find your confidence, and just be you. It's you the person is interested in, not your wheelchair. So that is that first piece of advice. Number 2, be honest with the person, but not too honest. Sounds weird, but let me explain. So if it's someone that you may not have known before, you may have met them online or over the phone or in a chat room, whatever it may be, it is obvious when they finally meet you that you may be in a wheelchair. You have some mobility issues. Don't let it be a surprise. I know putting yourself out there can be difficult. It can be nerve-wracking. I'm on some dating sites, and I make sure, you know what, in my profile picture, I make sure there's a wheelchair pic, not just the headshot, but the whole chair. Because for one, it kind of gives you that opportunity to be honest up front. It's an icebreaker. If they're not interested, if it seems to be a block for them, cool. We're not going to go any further than that. But let them know up front, hey, I've had a spinal cord injury. I'm mobilized with a wheelchair or a walker or crutches, whatever your situation may be, and let them know up front. Now, don't be too honest. Now, by that, I'm not telling you to lie to nobody. I'm not saying to tell them, by next month, I'll be walking, everything's fine. No, don't lie to nobody. But what I mean is, don't give too much up front. For one, it is a lot to deal with. It's a lot of information, and for the average person, the majority of our population, this is new information. It's a lot to take in. It's one thing for them to see you're in a wheelchair, but they want to give you a chance to get to know you. It's another thing to tell them about your catheter or your bowel program or all of these things when you're on a first date or very early on in the relationship. Those are things that are pretty personal, and it may be a bit much for them to deal with so early on the date. So keep a few things to yourself. I'm not telling you get into a long-term relationship and lie to nobody, but on your first date, they don't need to know about your catheter situation. I'm not saying don't prepare for the date, don't do a few things to make sure you're safe, but if you're going on a date with a guy or a girl for the first time, they don't need to know all of that information up front. The next thing is to look good. I've talked about this in other episodes. Unfortunately, many people dip into depression post-injury. They lose that drive to make themselves look physically good because of the differences in their body. Forget all that noise. Look fresh, look as good, look as sexy as you can. Being in the chair doesn't take away any bit of your attractiveness. I know I dealt with it a bit in the beginning, not wanting to get dressed up, not going to the barber. I'm mostly over it. I'm going to be honest, it's still a work in progress, but right now, get past that. You're going on a date, you're trying to meet someone, you want them to see you more so than the chair. So get a nice outfit, get cleaned up. If you have to wear sweatpants, don't get home sweatpants. Get a nice, fresh looking, jegging looking sweatpants. It's like the sweatpants that kind of look like jeans, but they're presentable to go out in. Get something kind of stylish. If you're a lady, bedazzle the hell out of them joints. Make them look cute. Get some yoga pants that are kind of tight. Whatever you got to do, make it look nice. If you can't wear the button downs that you used to as a guy, I know not all of them fit me well. Now I'll rock a polo or I'll do a short sleeve one. Something that makes you feel good. You're still comfortable. Your skin isn't being compromised, but you're still giving off that outward appearance that you look good. Ladies, do your makeup. Everyone, get your hair done, styled, cut, whatever you got to do. Fellas, clean up the beard. Do whatever you do to still keep your sexy intact. Number 4, when planning your actual date, do your research. I've talked about it many times. If just going out on any kind of social activity or anywhere you have to go. We use wheelchairs. There are some factors that other people don't take into account. We have to. Being able to get in and out of the locations safely is important, or at all. There are some places that when you ask about it ahead of time, is it wheelchair accessible? They sometimes forget about the little step that it takes to get into the place. I know I've been to places and they're like, yeah, there's no step, but no one tells you that there's no ramp to get up on the sidewalk. So do your research. If you're looking for a nice spot to go to, call ahead, go online, look for reviews, try to find pictures of what the place looks like, the restaurant. Call ahead find someone else that's been to that place and ask them how accessible it may be. Use resources that you may have, your support groups. There are some forums online that'll tell you if it's wheelchair friendly, if it's great for manual chairs or power chairs, wherever it may be. Do your research. And not only that, but find out how accessible it is for you as an individual. It might be accessible for someone in a manual chair, but might not be accessible for you in your power chair. It might be accessible for someone who has upper body mobility, but if you don't have the same reach or grip strength, you may not be able to do some of the activities or even get into the building. So do your research. The next one, take control of the date. This one's a bit more to the guys. I can only give the male perspective, so forgive me, ladies. But if you could apply any of this to yourself, please do so. But take control of the date. I know part of the injury or the misconceptions of being in a wheelchair or having any sort of disability, people think that you need assistance with everything. Kill that noise. Stop that. Come in confident. Call the person you're trying to go on a date with. Let them know, hey, I've planned this, I've planned that. This is exactly what we're going to do. Don't leave it up in the air, gentlemen. If you're like me, I do my research like I just said. I'm going to find the place, make sure we have 2 or 3 alternatives. I'm going to make sure I have the times down pat when we get there. Hey, these are what we're going to do. I'm not saying don't take what they want to do into consideration at all. Not saying that. But, still exert that same confidence you would have done prior to being injured or just what the person may have won from you. Some of us have been in wheelchairs our entire lives, so there was no prior. So you got to build that confidence one way or another. Let them know, hey, I planned this. This is what we're going to do. Take the lead. Some people like to see that in their partner. And make sure you communicate with them as well. The person may feel like they have to do a whole lot of extra work because you're in a wheelchair. Just show them that you are independent. You can do the damn thing and you guys can have fun together. Which leads me to the last bit of advice. Just have fun. Sometimes we put a lot of pressure on ourselves in these dating situations. In fact, when I was speaking to my therapist, that was his advice to me. Just have fun. Get rid of all the extra pressure, all the preconceived notions, all the expectations you're putting on it, and just have a good time. Whether it becomes a romantic situation, whether it's just a date between 2 people who are going to become friends. Don't worry too much about the venue, because if you've done all your research, if you took control of the situation, now when you get there, you can just have a good time. Can things go wrong? Oh, yes. Is it possible that you have a catheter mishap while you're out there? Yup. Hopefully there's no sort of bowel program issue. Is it possible that you might pass out or have crazy spasms? All those things are possible. But if you prepare yourself for them and you don't let it stress you out, you just have fun, I think that'll really change how you feel in the moment. That'll make the person look at you in a more confident and hopefully in a more romantic, sexy way. Just have fun. Those are just a bit of advice I received and I've kind of developed in the last couple years when trying to go out and trying to meet people socially and on dates as well. So if you could apply any of these to yourself in your situation, please go ahead and do so. Now that I've given you some advice on getting ready to get back into the dating world, here are some, date ideas that are wheelchair friendly. Again, make sure they apply to you in your particular situation, whether you use a manual chair, a power chair, half electric, half manual, whatever it is, make sure they apply to you and depending on where you live, because not all of these are accessible. These are mostly for here in South Florida. I can speak from our perspective, but they are also available in other places across the country as well. So the first spot, and I love this place. I've been going for years because it's just a great environment. I like to go to the Hollywood Beach Boardwalk. It is an amazing atmosphere. It is very friendly and is extremely wheelchair accessible. Now, we're talking about the boardwalk, not so much going onto the sand. That is a bit separate. We could talk about that as well. The boardwalk itself, it is very wide. There's space for people who are on their bicycles. There are people who skateboard all over the boardwalk. So there's definitely space for you in your wheelchair, may it be power or manual, if someone's pushing you or if you're pushing yourself. The best part about it is there is nothing but shops and restaurants and bars all up and down the boardwalk. And half of them are all outdoor. So they're definitely accessible for you in your chair. I've been in quite a few of them, not all, but the majority of them, because you're right on the beach, they don't have a step or anything to get into. There may be a few that do have a little dip or a little step in the front, but the best part is most of them do have seating on the outside. So if you get the attention of the server or whoever's working at the restaurant and let them know, hey, we're going to sit outside, there's usually a spot for you and your date. And if one particular restaurant doesn't work for you, there's another further down the line. And of course, it's a nice romantic spot if you want to go during the evenings or during the day. There's a stage where they play live music. So there's a lot of different things that you can do on the Hollywood Beach Boardwalk. Now, in South Florida, there's also the Fort Lauderdale Beach Boardwalk, which is pretty similar. The difference is you kind of have to deal with crossing the street a few times as far as in comparison to Hollywood Beach Boardwalk. Once you're on the boardwalk, you're away from the streets, so you don't have to worry about that. But it's very similar. There are restaurants, there are bars, but some of them are 2-3 stories, and you have to kind of deal with with stairs. I do believe some of the spots have elevators, but if you want, you can just stay on this first floor, enjoy yourself, ride around Fort Lauderdale Beach. Same thing for South Beach. I know you guys hear about South Beach all the time. The only thing, again, you're dealing with traffic, you're dealing with the street, so you have to be careful when crossing the roads. But you could get on to the side where the beach is, and although I haven't been back since I've been injured, so I'm not too sure about how accessible the sand is. We'll talk about that when I finally get the opportunity to go out there. But again, the restaurants, a lot of them are right at street level. You can ride right up to the restaurant, eat on the outside. So a boardwalk by the beach where there are restaurants is a great place to enjoy a nice date. The next one, and these are in no particular order, the next one will be a museum. South Florida has a lot of great museums down here, and there are a few in particular that are given credit for being very wheelchair accessible. So ride around. You and your date can walk around, roll around, ride around, whatever verb you want to use. I say walk around. So you can walk around, enjoy the art, whether it's an art exhibit, whether it's science exhibits, whether they're interactive or not. You can enjoy it. Your date can do some of the activities that you may not be able to. If you have the mobility and the physical capabilities to do them, great for you. Some of them have planetariums where you can sit together and watch a show. Some also have bars and restaurants on the inside. So not only do you get to enjoy the art, it's great conversation pieces, but you get to have a bite, a little drink or something to enjoy yourself. You can go on a tour with the guides that are also there, or you can do a little one-on-one thing with you and your partner. And I suck at the visual arts. I don't really get them. But hey, it's a great conversation starter, and it's a great possibly romantic or educational type of date for you and your partner. Number 3, a nice movie date. And I've gotten a bit bougie as I've gotten older. I like what's called the iPic theaters. They're more adult and more contemporary. A lot of them have bars and restaurants included. So you could, one, go in and enjoy a nice little snack, little appetizer, little dinner meal with your partner, enjoy a drink. And the theater itself, they have the beautiful, comfy recliner chairs. And the beautiful thing about it is they're about the same level as the person in their wheelchair. So if you can transfer out of your wheelchair and sit on one of the couches with your partner, great. Otherwise, you can pull up right next to the sofa, share a blanket, recline along with them, and enjoy a movie. Now, if you guys notice, a lot of the activities so far I'm talking about, I tend to combine the activity with a place that already has a meal. I don't have a vehicle at the moment that can accommodate my wheelchair, so it's hard to plan going to 2-3 different places at once during one date. So I try to find a place that has both the entertainment, the activity, and somewhere where we can get some snacks or eat or drink, whatever it may be. It's up to you. If you choose to do the same, I just find it pretty convenient for myself. It doesn't have to be exactly in the same building, but within walking distance or throughout the activity, I think it works well. So going to the iPic theaters, I know the one I like the best in South Florida is the one in North Miami Beach. North Miami Beach. It's attached to a nice bar. It's pretty sexy, and it's mostly wheelchair accessible. There's some tight spots, but you can maneuver and manipulate the area pretty well to your needs, and the people are pretty helpful there as well for moving chairs and fixing tables for you. So definitely check it out. The next one is Wynwood, the art district that we have down here. I know other places in the country also have outdoor art districts where you can ride around, and a lot of the art is outdoors. Again, there are restaurants, there are bars, there are areas that you could enjoy food, but you literally drive down to Wynwood, you decide where you want to meet up to, and you could ride around. There are art galleries inside of warehouses that you can go in and out of, but there's also the outdoor art that makes it very uh, exciting and entertaining. You don't have to worry about getting in and out of buildings that often. Now, the area is kind of old as far as it comes to the infrastructure, so sidewalks and crossing the street can be a bit difficult, so you have to just be careful of riding around the blocks and where you're going, kind of plan ahead, see which galleries you want to check out, and make sure they are more accessible to you and your partner. And again, you can grab something to eat and drink at many of these spots down there. This is another big one, not specific to South Florida, but outdoor festivals. I have always loved outdoor festivals, music, food and wine festivals, sports festivals, block parties, whatever they may be. You would find me at many of them down here, and it's no different. Some of them are usually in open areas on grass and stuff, so you do have to be careful depending on the wheelchair that you have. But there are others that are like in big parking lots or in paved areas, which make it a lot easier to participate in. One, again, most of them have food and drinks, so not only are you participating in the activities, but great food and drinks for you and your partner. Two, they're outdoors, which this whole COVID thing happening right now, you don't have to worry too much. I didn't say not at all, but you don't have to worry too much about being up on somebody, not getting your 6 feet, not being able to get the space that you need to make sure everyone is breathing safely. Some of them tend to be kind of crowded, so you want to be careful when you are maneuvering around. I'm pretty loud when I'm riding. I am not opposed to using the horn on my chair to let someone know, hey, you're kind of in my way. Please move out the way if they don't hear me. Also, if your partner is able to, they can just tell people, hey, excuse me, we're coming through. And most people tend to get out the way when they see you coming, just to be kind of kind. So outdoor festivals are amazing. They're fun. If you can't physically do an activity, hey, let your partner do it and enjoy themselves. One in particular I enjoyed down here in Florida is the Renaissance Festival. And unfortunately, I can't do all the activities that I used to. There's like a swashbuckling, which is like a little sword fighting activity. There's the axe throwing. There are a few things that I would have participated in prior to my injury, and I can't. But that doesn't mean I can't sit back and watch my partner have fun and do some of those activities, and then sit together at some other parts of it and enjoy them as well. So outdoor festivals and concerts and things of that nature are a great wheelchair accessible date idea. But make sure you check your venue to make sure it's wheelchair accessible. Amusement parks are next on my list. There's always pop-up carnivals. There's always we have down here the Youth Fair and Santa's Enchanted Forest. Florida's really big on our amusement parks as well. Do your research first. Check to see if you're able to get on some of the rides. Some of them are wheelchair friendly. Some, for those who can transfer into a seat, you can transfer into them. Others, hey, just ride around, play your games, eat some food. You see how I go again? Combine the activity with the food. Come on, guys. I got a theme going. But it's usually fun. Uh, it's a lot of excitement for you and your partner. You guys can enjoy it. And most of them have some kind of show, whether it be music or light shows, or I know in Disney they have parades. It's a great opportunity for you and your partner to sit back and just enjoy it. If you're not super active, or if you're worried about you being in your chair pushing all day, or your partner walking alongside you, there's always opportunities to sit down and just enjoy and people watch and see what's going around them. Amusement parks are amazing. I haven't had the opportunity to go back to any of the major ones since my accident, but I have been to our local fairs a few times, and I've had a blast. I've done all the rides as a kid, so I wasn't really crazy about getting on rides because it was pretty early on in my injury, but believe me, we ate and drank to our fill, and there were a couple shows there, so we enjoyed ourselves regardless. Next on the list is a zoo or a seaquarium, or for those of you guys who like botanical gardens, or I know down here we have Parrot Jungle, we have Butterfly World, any of these activities where you can kind of walk around and just see the sights. And the best part is it's at your pace. No one is rushing you. No one is pushing you through. You're not following any particular guide group. So you and your partner can sit down for a while and watch the animals, or watch the sights, or just enjoy the gardens and move along as you want. Gives you nice time to sit down and chat and talk. And of course, there's usually food at these places. Not all of them, so I don't want to tell you yes. Do your research, call ahead, or some of them allow you to bring your own snacks. A little hack, a life hack. I usually have my book bag on my wheelchair. And once you're in a wheelchair, most people don't check your book bag. So I usually leave snacks and drinks in there. Shh, don't tell them I told you. But some of these activities are really nice. They tend to be kind of romantic depending on the vibe you are going for. And of course, there are interactive activities at most of them. So check out your local zoo, your aquarium, well, seaquarium, whatever they call it in your area, the botanical gardens, whatever it may be. They're usually a very good ride. And most of them have paved walkways, so you don't have to worry about being all up in grass or anything like that. Another one, which is very, I guess, frugal for those of us on a budget. And as much as we used to clown it, make fun of it, it was a thing for a while. But Netflixing and chilling is actually really helpful when you're dealing with wheelchair accessible dating. You're at home. Your house, your home, your apartment, whatever it may be, is hopefully accessible to you in your own chair. So why not set up in your living room, transfer into a nice sofa, set up a movie on your big screen, and you guys cuddle on the couch? Have some snacks, order in, and enjoy your atmosphere together. Pour yourself a bottle of wine and just enjoy the frugality of it, the financial savings, but of course, just having that one on one time with the person that you're interested in, that you want to spend your time with in your home, and you don't have to worry about crowds, you don't have to worry about the accessibility of wheelchairs or anything of that nature. Right next to that would be a cooking class or cooking together. This one is a bit more complex depending on your level of ability. I know I can't do some of those activities, but I am very good at reading a recipe, of giving ideas on cooking. So if you want to do it together, why not? One person be in charge of the actual chopping and cutting and cooking, and the other one share ideas with the recipe, or read the book back, or look up the recipe. Whatever you do, it's between the two of you guys to figure out how you want to make it happen. If both of you can cut and cook, do it. If one person can't reach the stove because of the height of their wheelchair, let that person do it, and you pour the wine, whatever it may be. There are some classes that you can find that are a bit more accessible. Some are online on Groupon. Look it up. Some are in your local college, and you can make it an outdoor activity with a group. Whatever you do, I think cooking classes is great. And not only that, but it kind of shows your partner that, hey, you're able to do as much as you can, even if you can't physically participate in it. But, just telling them what's next on the recipe, or giving ideas, delegating in a very respectful way. You're not yelling at nobody, telling them what to do, but just being part of the activity, I think, would be fun. In fact, I think I'm going to try that one. I haven't done that one as of yet. Last one on my list, and this is another one I've done here in South Florida, and I guess it depends where you live, but go on a boat tour. They are fun. Like, some people think they're a bit corny, but I think going on a boat tour in your local area is great. Sometimes, especially again here in South Florida, we're a big tourist attraction, and unfortunately, many locals haven't seen any of these tourist spots. And going on a boat tour is a great one. I went back in December, and it was a completely wheelchair accessible area. In fact, it was put on by Shake a Leg, where they have boats and stuff that are specifically for those who are wheelchair users and their family. But look it up. I know Bayside down here has some boat tours. Now, you can't go on every one. I don't think I can get on one of the speedboat tours because they're a lot smaller, and you have to be able to get into one of their seats. But some of the larger boats that you can go in on your wheelchair, some of them have the fastening, some have specific areas for wheelchair users to sit on, and they always have seating next to you for your partner or your family members that may be joining you. I know we have the Everglades tour down here where you can go through the swamps and see the crocodiles and stuff. And I've been on those prior to my injury. But while I was there, they did have spaces for people who use wheelchairs. And there were people on our boat that were enjoying themselves, regardless of what others may assume their abilities are. But have fun. go on a boat tour. Some of them are at night where you party a little bit, play music. They serve drinks. I know Bayside is full of restaurants, so that could be just an all-around activity for you. Shop, eat, drink, and go on a boat and have a good time. That is a list of 10 wheelchair accessible date ideas that you guys can use. Valentine's Day is right around the corner, but these are for year round, depending on where you live. If you're going on vacation, these are all my ideas for Florida. But wherever you may be, you can Google online and find wheelchair accessible ideas. I'm going to share a list that I have online, that I found online. I think it has like 15 ideas, but use them. Figure out what you and your partner want to do. You guys could be married for 40 years. You guys could be on your first date. These are great activities to go out and do. The misconception is we are stuck at home or we're not interested in dating or romance or any of those things. It's not true. We just have to be a bit more creative. We have to plan a bit more ahead. We may not be as spontaneous as everyone else may be in their moment, but hey, I'm all about planning and having 2 or 3 ideas in mind. Who knows? I may be going on a date soon and come back and share with you guys. Who knows? If I have a friend or two that are doing theirs and I'm giving them their advice. As long as you guys get to enjoy yourselves, remember, build your confidence back. You have to love you before you can expect anyone else to love you. I know it's hard post-injury to kind of get that confidence back, but I've had a few people here on the show who've been married, who got married post-injury or before, who started dating afterwards, and it's all about being confident in yourself, getting back to who you are, understanding that, yeah, there's some aspects of you that are different, but with a little bit of research, a little bit of planning, you can still enjoy romance and dating. Next episode, I'm going to be having what they call an interabled couple joining us here on the podcast to kind of share their love story. You know, I wanted to speak with a few more people to talk about how they don't let their wheelchair or their injury or their disability stop them from pursuing life and love. And I definitely wanted to bring this couple. I found them on Instagram and I follow their page. They're great. They're funny. And, you know, I just really wanted to have them share with you guys their experience to kind of lift you up as well. For those of you guys who are interested in dating and getting back out there and were worried that it can't happen to you, it can't happen for you because of your injury, it's some bull. It really is not true. Don't let that stop you from going out. Yes, there are some difficulties, but everyone in the dating world deals with difficulties, so don't let it stop you. Look out for our next episode. Again, if you haven't done so, subscribe to the show. We are on all the major platforms. You can find us on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and many more. Spotify. Subscribe. Send us your reviews, your comments. We want to know what you guys are thinking. Again, enjoy your month of February, your Valentine's Day. Celebrate with those you love. It is Black History Month as well. Acknowledge, celebrate all the contributions that people of color have given to this country. Until our next episode, everyone have a great day.
Thanks for tuning in to the show. Connect with the podcast on social media. Check out our Instagram page at ramp.it.up.podcast or email us at rampituppodcast@gmail.com. Until next time.